Okay, Republicans, let's be real. The young man who shot at your savior was a product of your own doing. A radicalized 20-year-old. A kid who no doubt was raised with all kinds of influences telling him if he's not alpha, then he's a wuss. If he's not convincingly manly, he risks never getting a date. A young man who, at 20, could already dehumanize people enough to harm them. From what we know about the shooter's father, it's safe to assume he was taught to shoot guns, but probably never taught to feel his feelings. I would venture a guess that he was a kid with trauma, and no room to have the natural reaction to trauma. The human reaction to trauma is fear, sadness, grief, and anxiety, all feelings that are necessary for processing trauma and moving beyond it, but all feelings that are not acceptable in a manly Republican world. The Republican way is to say buck up and get over it, instead of expressing feelings of fear, sadness, grief, and anxiety. It's more than likely that he had to do what all American boys raised under the Republican model have to do. He had to turn it into anger. Anger is the sanctioned way to deal with feelings for boys in all of America, but much more so in red states. And what happens when humans have to bury human feelings? They become less human. They become a monster by the age of 20. Because humans are not meant to shut down parts of themselves, and when they do, their brains go haywire. They develop mental health issues, which the right then shames them out of dealing with. Mental health treatment is stigmatized on the right. They make it a sign of weakness. Every freaking human experience that's not driven by anger is turned into a sign of weakness on the right. And when the people who've been shamed out of getting help snap, the right just dismisses them as bad guys with guns. That's like building an airplane with no wings and blaming the airplane itself for crashing and not the people who built it with no wings. The right doesn't want humans. The right wants soldiers. The right wants soldiers who never lay the blame where it belongs. The Republican Party introduced violence into this country and then fed it until it became so normalized that in 2024, part of American life is bracing for civil war. Republican lawmakers wore AR-15 pins to work. Republican lawmakers put guns on their Christmas cards. Republican lawmakers make ads that feature them shooting representations of Democrats or Democrat policies. Republicans do that, not Dems. Well, Republicans, what did you expect? Eventually, one of your homegrown soldiers was gonna snap and turn on you. That's what happens when you rile up reactive people. And boy, you've riled up a lot of them. Our greatest domestic threat is homegrown far-right extremism. The vast majority of mass shootings in this country are perpetrated by far-right patriots. Now you want to suggest that you've been promoting peace all along? Sorry, gaslighters, not buying it. You don't get to tell me how I feel, how I get to feel, how I get to respond to violence you gestated with rhetoric that should never have re-entered the public sphere since it did in 1940s Germany. There are a lot of us out there who still remember our humanity and who still aspire to have a world in which our children have a shot in hell at becoming their best selves, which means a whole different thing than becoming little soldiers. If our children can't live in a world where they can be fully human, able to feel the full spectrum of human emotions, then they will end up inhuman. And at that point, all you can expect is inhuman behavior, like a young man who shot at your savior. So Republicans, if you really condemn violence, then stop promoting it. Simple as that. And for fuck's sake, stop blaming everyone else for what you created. Yeah. Well, have a day. Have a day.